In today's lesson, we will go through what the Illustrator Workspace looks like, creating objects and using the selection tools. So up at the top here, just like all the other softwares, there is our top menu. Over to the side here is our toolbox, and then here is our floating palette. We have our status bar at the bottom. This is our artboard inside here. And here is our control palette. So just like Photoshop, whenever you go to the different objects, you will get your menu at the top. It'll change based on whatever tool you have selected. So let's start off. I'm going to create a shape. So this will be a rectangle or a circle shape. If I hold it down, I get a flyout menu with a rounded rectangle tool, ellipse tool, which is a circle or oval, polygon tool, star tool, flare tool. So I'll just start off with the rectangle tool. If I am to draw right now, I will have it as a white shape with a black stroke around it. So if I wanted to change this, I can just double click. I can move my control bar up on the side here and then pick a color inside. So I'll pick a light tone for now and then I'll hit OK. So right now if I draw, I'm going to get this aqua color with a black stroke. If you wanted to change your stroke, you could just double click on this and then same thing, find a different tone value. If you wanted to switch the two, all you have to do is hit those double arrows and the two color values will actually switch. If I want to have it where I just have a dark stroke and I don't want to have a color fill, I can hit this and it'll give me no color fill. And then if I want to change that again, I can bring that green back. So here we go. If I hold Shift, I get a perfect square. If I don't hold Shift, I can create a rectangle. If I want to change my stroke, I can have it into a larger stroke. I can change the way the stroke looks. So we have a lot of options all at the top here. I'm just going to keep it simple for this. Now let's talk about the selection tools. So if you put your cursor over top of the toolbar, you will see it says selection tool. The black selection tool will grab the whole object, so you can move the whole object. The white selection tool, if I click away, if you notice I put my cursor only on the one corner and it selects it. So right here, if you zoom in, you will see that this one is the only one selected. There's white inside of these squares and this square is a solid fill, which is telling me that I can actually move this one edge out. So if I click this one so it's selected, then I can drag it. And you can change your objects, the shapes of them. If I decided that I wanted to change my color fill at this point, I can select it. I can go over here. I can change it to a different value. I can also go up over on the sidebar here. This is my colors. There's a lot of different ways to change your colors in here. There's my color guides if I want to work with guides. If you want to change your stroke, you can click on it so it's selected. I can go in and then change my stroke value. I can say that I don't want a stroke. I can say that I don't want a color fill, so then I'm only seeing the outline of the shape. This is really good when you're using the pen tool and you're just trying to create shapes and paths. But for now, I will just put on a color again. So I'm going to delete this. And we're going to start creating some other shapes. So for a circle, if I hold Shift, I can create a perfect circle. If I don't hold Shift, then I would create an oval. If I want to resize it, I click on it with my black selection tool so everything is selected. If I hold Shift and I pull in from the four corners, it will constrain it proportionally. If I don't hold Shift, then as you can see, it doesn't constrain it proportionally. So you can end up getting a wonky shape if that's not what you're trying to do. If you want to rotate it, if you move your cursor on the outside of the box, you will get those double arrows. So those that are familiar with Photoshop, it's like hitting Command T or Control T and you get your transform box. And then all you have to do is just click and drag and you can rotate your object. I'm going to delete both of these now. Okay, now I'm going to show you a different technique. So I have my circle here. I'm going to actually put a black stroke so it's a little bit more obvious to see. I'm going to click away from this object. Then what I want to do is I want to create a square. Actually, I think I'm just going to take off the stroke off both of them so it's not confusing. And clicking away, I'm going to make a square. So because I drew this square, it is above my oval. Okay, you go up to Window, Layers, and we will see that here is our layers. We have two different paths here. So what you could do is you could drag the one path over the other, but since they are on the exact same layer, I could just select my oval and I can go to Object, Arrange, Send Backward. And if you had multiple, you could actually arrange it send backward. This becomes really handy when you have a lot of layers. If you had 300 layers here, going in and trying to find out which layer it is can be a little tricky. So you can just go to Object, Arrange, Send to Back. But they have to be on the same layer for that to actually be effective. Okay, and that's it for creating basic shapes.